Good morning, everyone. Today is, believe it or not, the 17th of December, 2019. Welcome as you come in. I'm Roy Potter, and I did a few extemporaneous, spontaneous live streams this last few days because things just all of a sudden just go out of control. I do have coffee this morning, and yes, it is caramel cream. Good stuff. As you notice, I have a storm background this morning. For all of those who might think it means something other than what I intended to, it doesn't mean that a storm has arrived, the promised storm has arrived. No, what we're seeing is a show. So this is a lightning show. But, by the same token, it also shows that we're entering into some very, very, very dangerous and turbulent waters. I'm wearing my InfoWars Mullen Labe shirt again today, primarily because of the situation that we see ourselves in, watching what's transpiring in Virginia, Washington State, other states, other places. There's no doubt that the left is making its move, and I'm going to call them what they are. I've been calling them leftist Marxists for a long time, but some people are finally starting to realize that what we're really dealing with are what the original communists were. Not Russians, but communists in the likes of Bill Ayers and those types of people, the Weather Underground. The same type of people funding them, the rich and famous, so to speak, the financial houses, etc., that actually funded, from the West, funded the Bolshevik Revolution, the October Revolution in the former Russian Empire. And then it became the Soviet Union, for those of you who have studied history. We're seeing those exact same things happen here. Let's call it what it is. I saw headlines with a Voice the other day, and some other people finally say the Democrats are the Communist Party of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to foment division. I don't want to do that. But as I've been saying for quite some time, and people are starting to realize, there is no compromise, there is no dealing, there is no shaking hands with these people. They want this, and that's just what we're going to have to do to deal with it. Just admit it is what we're going to have to do. Let me check everything here and make sure that my settings are okay with you all. As usual, if you can give me a 5x5, if everything seems to be okay. I can't guarantee that the connection will stay as good as it is right now, if it is in fact good. There are some problems here, as you all know, that I've been experiencing for some time because of the weather. Looks like everything is all right. Time for the Insurrection Act, by the way, I see a little comment there, was actually some time ago, but it is really out of control now. Again, I have to refer to Headlines with a Voice. She seems to stay on top of this stuff and can upload almost immediately, and I like to present her information. Please go to her website, her YouTube channel, Headlines with a Voice. You'll also notice that the 156, 159 page, whatever it was, impeachment report doesn't just outline the claims that Trump abused his power. That's not all it says, or obstructed Congress. In the details in that report, it accuses him of crimes that he could actually, if and I don't know how they'd go about doing this, but if they convicted him of it, would send him to prison for probably 20 years. He didn't engage in the type of bribery that the Constitution talks about. He was trying to make another nation do what it's supposed to do to help them get rid of their corruption, and in the same time, the corruption that has been in our government. So, at any rate, these charges are all bogus, but I've got to start off, and this is going to take some time this morning. I started a little late. I got to start off with General Flynn, because this is crazy. You all know what's happening there, General, because I talked about it on a live stream a few days ago. Yesterday it may have been. General Flynn's attorney, Sidney Powell, has basically been put down by the deep state. That's exactly what's happened here. It's not just Sullivan, the judge. The clerks of Sullivan and the people that are behind the court system have not just slammed down General Flynn. They wanted to slam down Sidney Powell because she was in the swamp, not a swamp creature, but she was in the swamp as a supervisor in the Department of Justice and as a prosecutor. So she knows the system, and they don't like that. What was the telltale sign that they were reaching for straws to put her down personally? Well, what it was when the judge accused her of unethical behavior. What was the unethical behavior he's referring to? That she cited other court cases. Do you know how other lawyers' briefs, those types of things? Do you understand? Even if she had used the exact language, do you understand that every court in the United States has something that they do, that they quote other court decisions to establish precedent? And I'm not saying that precedent law is good, but every court in the United States, including Sullivan himself, quotes other court cases. So if there was plagiarism on Sidney Powell's part, then there's been plagiarism by Sullivan, and he's a hypocrite. But to ignore, in addition to what he said to Sidney Powell, to ignore everything that's come out on the IG situation and all that, and not to allow this exculpatory evidence to come by because Flynn pled guilty, and that's what it was about. I nailed it right. Because he pled guilty, and the DOJ, under bar, mind you, under bar, argued that because he pled guilty, he lost all rights to include any exculpatory evidence that wasn't brought up during the trial. We're not a nation of justice, ladies and gentlemen, not by a long shot. My voice is a little weak this morning because of the because of the fog, so I might be having a little problem having my voice carry. If that's a problem, make sure you let me know. I'm going to check the settings one more time just to make sure that we're doing okay here. Yeah, it looks like we are. Okay. The chat is on. As you can tell, I'm very upset about this. And who do I blame for all this? Oh, I could blame Mueller. I could blame Obama. Right? No, I blame Trump. As David Seaman said yesterday, he has Fulcrum News. And I know David... Some people don't appreciate his work. I do. I don't depend on it, but I do appreciate it. And it was pretty obvious to me that... Let me fix something here. I just noticed something was missing. There we are. Gotta have that. Little Betsy Ross flag up in the upper right-hand corner. Accidentally got moved. David Seaman put out something that I thought was pretty good. He's on Twitter, and he's saying, we've got a showman, we don't have a champion. Basically, is what he's saying. This is not a storm. This is a show. Kind of one of the reasons why I have this background today. By the way, I'm finding out that low light's a lot better than having the studio lights that I've used. It seems a little easier to adjust with a low light setting on the OBS. I'll probably use this more often, even though it creates more shadows. I think the colors and the stabilization of the pictures are better. Okay. So I'm not happy with Barr, and I'm not happy with Trump. I saw Rich Higgins yesterday on this whole subject. Rich Higgins is he was a former NSC advisor under McMaster, who was fired by McMaster because Rich Higgins had the courage to talk about the infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood into our government and the dangers that the Islamic religion, by and large, means to nations where it comes in. And this is historical. It's being denied by the left, by the media, by the CIA, by McMaster himself, of course, Brennan, these people, because they see the Islam orientation to be a means of control. And so they like it. Anything that gives them control, they like. And so they're using it as that. I don't care about what people believe, but when your fist hits my nose, let me rephrase that. It needs to stop before it hits my nose, and they're not doing that. They're allowing it to run rampant in the world, and I feel bad for the individuals involved in the religion, but I don't feel bad for the religion as a whole. It needs to be stopped, and that's just the fact of the matter. And they can throw me off Twitter, Twitter and YouTube for that. I really don't care, right? I mean, I'm coming on this morning because they still haven't kicked me off, and I figure I might as well use the opportunity, right? Every day I come on and I think, I wonder if that thing's going to be up still. But it is. So here we are. We might as well use it while we've got it, right? But I do blame Trump, and I blame Barr for this. As I was saying, Rich Higgins from the NSC, he said, well, actually Barr is moving at light speed. I'm happy with what he's doing. That's Rich Higgins saying that. And I have a lot of respect for Rich Higgins. If he's watching this, I hope he's not taking it wrong. I'm going to explain in a minute. But he told the person who was complaining about the same thing I am, that this thing with grabbing the perpetrators of the coup and all of this other stuff that is now taking hold because Trump and Barr won't act. He's saying, well, you've never worked for government because government works slowly. Actually, Barr is moving very, very quickly. Well, Rich, I see your academic acumen. I see your experience. I've read some of your work, and you're no intellectual midget. You're not. You are way, way up high on there, and you've been apparently an Army vet. You are an Army vet. You understand these things. So I'm not questioning your abilities and your knowledge and your experience. What I'm saying is that even if it appears to you that they're moving faster than government normally does, it's not going to do the job. It's way too slow. So we can pat Barr on the back saying, man, you're really working fast compared to others in the government. Government's so slow. But my contention is, Rich, it's not fast enough, and we're going to sink in this melee, this storm, this turbulence that is continuing. So that's why I decided to come on this morning, and I wanted to stand up for Sidney Powell. Not that she needs me to stand up for her. That's not the issue. I just wanted to get my voice on the record. Okay, and I do have a few notes, so let me start going through these so that we can talk. As everyone knows, I'm very upset with Trump not acting, and now he's in a situation that's extremely dangerous. He's put himself and the country in an extremely dangerous position, and I think he is bellicose. I'm sorry, not bellicose, diffident. The left is bellicose. I named this a bellicose left and a diffident right. That basically means an aggressive left that's looking for a fight, and a diffident right, in other words, a timid right. That's what that means. Why do I use big words? Lionel has inspired me, okay? You're supposed to communicate to your weakest link. You're supposed to take into account the weakest link. When you do public speaking, I've gone through many of those types of courses, writing and speaking and things, and you're supposed to talk at about an 8th or 9th grade level on most occasions, even in the universities, unless you're speaking on a specific topic. You're supposed to be down around the 8th or 9th grade, possibly 10th grade level, but normally 8th or 9th. But that, sometimes we have to challenge each other a little bit. So, take it as a vocabulary lesson, I guess. Okay. What does Trump need to do? We keep telling him, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you acting, etc., etc. He's signed all of these executive orders with no teeth. Oh, the one for Israel will be followed to the letter in the government. Oh, yes, it will. I can't believe it. And I don't want to get on a bashing Israel thing this morning. But I am a little discouraged that Israel seems to take a front row seat to America, even in Trump's supposedly America First campaign. It's just unbelievable to me. And then I saw, if any of you follow me on Twitter, I saw where they were making a big deal about Ivanka Trump visiting one of our larger military bases overseas and thanking all these men and women for defending our freedoms here in America. And frankly, it made me sick. Because the problem is, we're out there pushing empire. We're not protecting anybody. If we were protecting Americans, we wouldn't be losing our rights right and left from our own government. Remember when Bush said that the Islamist people hate us because of our freedoms? No, that's not it at all. Bush hates our freedoms. The elite hate our freedoms. Pardon me, cream in the coffee. and I took some fish oil this morning. The fact of the matter is that no one is protecting us from the deep state and the intelligence community and the leftist Marxist communists who are trying to do away with not just our Bill of Rights, but even the concept of such a thing. And I hear him touting the Constitution, this and the Constitution that. Boy, are they good at their Saul Alinsky tactics. By their fruits you shall know them, and they have nothing to do with the Constitution or with the Bill of Rights. Nothing. So the point is, what should Trump do? Well, he hasn't got the guts. He's not going to do it. He's going to sit here and let, as I've said all along, I worry so much that Trump is actually a slow-mo HRC, that he was put in there because they knew that if Hillary got in, that we would revolt immediately. And this way, we would think that something was going to happen and keep holding on and keep holding on and keep waiting until finally, guess what? It's too late. The water in the pan's reached boiling point and we're cooked. That's what I see happening. Whether Trump is a willing participant or not, that's what I see. Now, is that the plan of the leftist Marxist communists? The deep state, the intelligence community? Of course. If in fact Trump is not a willing participant, they have tried to take his actions and slow them down by all of these other things they've done. I realize that. Well, in a war then, what is Trump doing? Trump is doing very well, I think, in preventing the one world government, particularly the commercial end of that, the mercantile aspect of it. I think some of the things that he has done might, I'm not saying I know this for certain, might have showed them that he is actually after destroying that commercial system the way they're trying to construct it. In other words, that the one world currency, the one world government, the control of who can buy and sell by the identifications and things like that. The Revelations information, if you know about the book of Revelations. And it does say that the Lord, I'm not saying Trump, but that the Lord will destroy that mercantile system, that the merchants of the earth will lament its destruction, the destruction of Babylon. Babylon the Great has fallen. Oh, how horrible. Well, it might be that he's trying to do that, or, as I've said many times, it might just be that he wants to be the one in control of it. I really don't know. I don't read his mind. I watch what he does. And what I see him doing in other than in the economic sphere, which is important. Economic warfare is important. I'm not saying it isn't, especially when you've been put at a disadvantage like the United States has. Okay, I understand that. But when your own people are getting smashed left and right because you refuse to attack not just the logistical train of your enemy, which is basically what he's doing there, but he fails to attack the command and control of the enemy. And because he will not attack the command and control of the enemy for whatever reason, they are winning, folks. I don't give a damn what anybody tells you. I don't give a damn what anybody tells you. They're showing they're in control. Look what's happening in Virginia. Look what's happening in Washington State. Look what the Congress is doing. And I'm not so sure that the Senate is going to acquit Trump. I'm not certain of that. I hope so. But when the blackmails and the extortions and the briberies and the threats really come down hard, what's going to happen? Those people don't have any guts. What did I call them? Diffident. And frankly, the people in the Congress and the Senate are worse than diffident. They're traitors. They're seditionists by and large. We've got a problem here. So, that was a long way, an introduction to tell you what I think Trump should do. Well, he needs to, and I've said this for a long time. Okay, he needs to attack, literally attack, the elite networks, particularly those that deal in the pedophile and human trafficking. Okay, he needs to do that. That's their command and control. That's also their real payment area. And Lionel talked about this the other day, so I'm not off on some weird idea here. By the way, Pam Jones, if you're listening, and everybody, you need to go watch Pam Jones' pedophile project. She's doing fantastic work. She's not big because the people that are actually doing some great work out there don't get big for a number of reasons. But Pam Jones and the pedophile project is very good. She'll keep you up to speed on who is getting arrested and all these different government people and school boards, teachers, doctors, legislators, governors. I mean, it's really, really incredible to see how far it's gone. So the fact of the matter is that Pam Jones is showing what it is, and that's what Trump needs to do. And he's still going after the low-hanging fruit. If everybody's saying, "Well, look, Roy, he is cleaning up the pedophile networks," no, he's not cleaning up the pedophile networks. He's cleaning up the low-hanging fruit that's easy to grab. The people at the top are the ones that you need to go after. Now, some people say, "Well, when you go after the drug lords, you arrest the low people first, so that you can get information, so that you can get the hire." Do you know why I know that's not happening? Can somebody tell me why I can tell you that's not happening? I can tell you why, okay? I won't wait. They had the guy, Jeffrey Epstein. And as I called it at the time, Barr and Trump did not take the proper procedures to make sure that that was going to work, that they were going to have him. That's how I know. They let it slip through their fingers. They let the means by, it was like having Himmler come to Germany. It was the same type of thing. Hitler's second in charge. They had the guy, and whether he actually committed suicide, which is not, other than choking himself out, he could have used a ligature and just had himself pass out on the bed, but he didn't fall and break his hyoid bones. No, that's not what That's not what happened. That's impossible. Could have committed suicide. He was murdered, or they moved him somewhere else. In either case, the point is they lost him. We lost that as an ability to take down the networks, as a method too. Okay, I've got something important here to do. I'm going to put you on speaker, or on a little thing. Speaker. I'm going to show you a little break here. It's not going to be a very long one, but I got to do it so I can find out what's happening here. It's a police officer that is a very good friend of mine. He probably has some information I have to get from him, okay? All right, out here for just a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right, I apologize for that, but sometimes I've even seen Lionel do that. Usually, he doesn't put you on a picture and some music. He just does his whatever he's got to do on camera, and I try to avoid doing that. So anyway, sorry that took a little longer than I anticipated. Some good news for a change, and I have a little task to do, but that's okay. So, are we still up and running here, or did we lose everybody? All right, let me see how we're doing here. Who thinks Epstein is not dead? Okay, you guys are still talking. Great. Like the music, Norfolk, Virginia, great. Okay, we'll get back to topics here. So, what I'm saying is that Trump has failed to attack the command and control. He just has. Okay, and that's inexcusable. Oh, he needs time and all. It's like I said about Rich Higgins. We haven't got the time. Okay, not under the present circumstances. If in fact, and I have my doubts, if in fact Durham and Barr have and that's another thing, by the way, that Rich Higgins says. And again, Rich Higgins worked in the NSC under McMaster, and McMaster fired him for revealing the problems with the Muslim Brotherhood. Let me see here if I can. I might have this where he had some information here. Okay, he realizes there's a problem in this whole coup situation as well. This is Rich Higgins again. He put this out on the 15th of December. He says, do you really think that this entire series of events could have taken place without Rhino and GOP tacit acceptance? Why would you trust them now? See what I'm saying? Even he knows better than that. Let's see if there's another thing that he said here, or something else that he said that I wanted to bring up. As a matter of fact, I might go through a bunch of these things that have come out in the last little while. Matter of fact, I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. Not right now, though. We'll go to some more explanations of what needs to be done here. Okay, yeah, we might do that. I've saved a lot of material there from these people that would know exactly what's going on, not listening to Sean Hannity and Greg Jarrett and everybody else. I have a lot of respect for some of those people. Maria Bartiromo, as you know, a lot of folks, but they're still hitting all around the periphery, and nobody will say this. You have to go after the command and control, and Trump isn't doing it. And if Barr and Durham don't get these people, ladies and gentlemen, and even if they do, I mean, either way, you're looking at this storm, and this isn't going to be Trump's storm. Do you understand? It's going to be an uncontrollable mess. It's going to be like going into the perfect storm in the ocean. If you saw that movie, that's what we're going into. And no, it's not going to be controllable by Trump. We're on our own, no matter how this thing progresses. So anyway, Rich Higgins also said that he knows for a fact that Durham is on the job and that there are some indictments. Okay, well, he's in a position to know that, I suppose. I'm going to give him that benefit because, I think he's probably right. The problem is that there's no reason for them. Oh, they're keeping them sealed so that they can get information to go after everybody else. Oh, my gosh. That's like letting the enemy overrun your position so that there are such things as feints and reconnaissance and force and fallback positions to test there are, but this is insane. What they're doing is not that. They need to go after these people. Okay, moving on to another piece of information. This guy should be arrested. Former FBI and CIA director. He was both. William Webster. Did you see this? Says that Barr and Trump, particularly Barr, primarily Barr and Durham, but Trump is thrown in there too. Well, let's just stick with Barr and Durham. That Barr is showing his incompetence and his unwillingness to protect the institution of the FBI. Well, that's been the whole problem all along, is that they are protecting the institution. And frankly, I worry that Barr has more intent on protecting. As usual, back and forth, back and forth. Sorry about the disconnection there. The point is this William Webster guy has come out and said that Barr is a disgrace to his position and to his being an attorney. That's basically what he's talking about. Let's see here. One of the things that Webster said, sorry, because we went offline, I lost my train of thought. One of the things that Webster said is that the FBI must remain independent, that it's wrong for anyone to challenge its independence. And I blew up. I hit the ceiling. The FBI isn't an independent fourth branch of government. It is under the executive for a reason. Yes, it can be abused, just like Nixon abused certain things, and certainly Obama did with the IRS and the FBI, yes. But it's not independent in the sense that Webster's trying to pretend it is. If it were completely independent and the blind scales of justice, I'd agree with him, but that's not what it is. And that's not how it's been used ever. The guy's a liar. He's a deceiver. He's changing history. We know what it's done. The FBI is not an independent fourth branch of government. And I tweeted out the other day that the Senate Intel Committee with Senators Burr and Warner, their oversight is no good because they're part of the problem. And the president is a problem because he's not, he fired Comey. Why hasn't he fired Wray? That thing is working without any oversight whatsoever, the FBI. This is just wrong. And I'll tell you what it's like, and I said this on Twitter the other day. Okay? The FBI and the IC, working as independent fourth branches of government, is akin to giving a loaded and cocked gun to a 2-year-old. And that's exactly what it is. For short-term gains, we have people that will sell their souls, and our souls with them. You've heard the statement, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. Well, there's another part of that, okay? And that is a willingness to act. Hence, our diffident right note there in the title. Where is the willingness to act? And John Wayne said it once. And I'm not sure exactly how the quote goes. And of course, he was just an actor, but he had some good one-liners. And this one went something like, it's not whether or not you can shoot somebody. It's whether you're willing to do it. Do you have the will? So there's a lack of willingness to act. Trump said I'm your champion, we're going to win, we're going to keep winning, we're going to get tired of winning. That's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. And while we're being distracted by what appear to be the good economic gains and some other things, okay, some of the conservative court judges that have been appointed and put into place, I know there's some good things. But if we lose the Bill of Rights, if we lose our government's, if that responsibility is of the government to protect our rights is no longer addressed, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to lose them. We're going to lose those rights. Not that you can lose a God-given right, but we're going to lose our ability to exercise our rights because the government's going to call it criminal behavior. They're already doing that. Look how the Fourth Amendment has been eviscerated. And we've got an AG now, Barr, who doesn't even like the Fourth Amendment. He says that the probable cause and search and seizure requirements are too rigid in the Constitution. Is he out of his mind? That's not his right to say so. He took an oath to support and defend it, and then he wants to change it. And of course, on the Second Amendment, he's totally against that. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance, plus a willingness to act. Another thing I wanted to bring up was the anti-vax thing. You see what's happening there? We're having people now say that if you're an anti-vaxxer, you should be arrested, your children taken, and your property seized. What did I say about the Fourth Amendment being gone? Why isn't Barr? Why aren't Trump and Barr going after these states who are trying to take away or infringe on your Second Amendment, like Virginia and Washington? Taking your children away, which is your most prized thing, right? Because you want to exercise a parent's right not to put this foreign material in their bodies. And it just goes on and on. This country is a joke. It is a hypocritical, white sepulcher, lying, deceitful piece of shit. I'm sorry, everybody says, oh no, we've got to be the greatest country. Everybody else tells us how bad we are. The left tells us how bad we are. Ladies and gentlemen, your own conservatives don't support the Constitution, but you consider to be your conservatives. What did Rich Higgins say that I read to you? You can't even trust the rhinos and the GOPers. They lie. The supreme law of the land is an inconvenience. The Constitution. Lionel gave a discussion on that the other day as well. As a matter of fact, he actually said the country is done. Go back and look at it. Okay. No, for those of you who want to know, Kushner is a frickin' idiot to say that anti-Semitism is the same thing as anti-Zionism. That's not true. That is not true, and it's even a lot of Jews don't believe that nonsensical BS. It's false. And as I said earlier in the broadcast, Trump forgets that Israel isn't first. It's supposed to be America first. And I'm getting a little tired of it like everybody else. And no, I'm not anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish. Oh, I'm anti-Zionist, all right. And Kushner, that is not anti-Semitism, you idiot. Any more than being against the Soviet Union was being anti-Russian. You flickin' idiot. You lying, deceiving piece of crap. Where are the FISA Court judges? Why aren't they hauling these people, these FBI agents, in there for lying to the court and holding them in contempt and possibly even jailing them for criminal conduct? Why? I've heard some others say that. You know, earlier on, several months back, I went back to look for it and I couldn't find it. Joe DeGeneva, this was like earlier in the summer, Joe DeGeneva was saying that the FISA Court judges know what's happened and that they are on this and they are grabbing people. They are doing something about it. And then all of a sudden, he didn't talk about it anymore. And now we're finding out that the FISA Court judges aren't doing anything. If they're not complicit with this entire attempt to overthrow our government, if they're not complicit, then they're lazy SOBs, period. So where are they? Why aren't they taking action? Why aren't they doing something? The FISA Court thing needs to be thrown out. It needs to be dissolved and destroyed. Go back to all the Fourth Amendment requirements. Okay. I got to go back to the Sullivan on the Flynn and the Flynn deal. Judge Sullivan against General Flynn. Trump put out a tweet the other day. Clint Eastwood is making a movie about the gentleman, Mr. Jewell, who he died subsequent to all this. But if you remember, there was a bombing at a state fair in Georgia, and the FBI under Mueller went and attacked this Mr. Jewell and insisted he was the guy that did it. He didn't, okay? They were obviously, I would not doubt a bit if it wasn't an FBI agent on the rogue side that actually did this thing, and they needed to blame Jewell for it to get the heat off the FBI. Look at the World Trade Center bombings in 1993, for example, or any number of other things that have happened. The shooting, by the Islamic terrorists there in Texas, in Garland, Texas, when Pam Geller was there, and Geert Wilds, I guess is his name, from Denmark or wherever he's from. Maybe he's from the Netherlands. There was an FBI agent that assisted them in getting there, the two shooters. We see this all the time. The killing of the friend of the Zarnov brothers in Florida during interrogation. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. The FBI is not just incompetent. It is criminal. It's both. It can only figure things out that it's directly involved in on a criminal side. Anyway, so there's this movie that's being made by Clint Eastwood on Mr. Jewell, and the debacle of Robert Mueller going after, and the FBI going after this poor guy. And they finally proved that he wasn't, he was able to prove that he had to prove his innocence. That's the other thing. He had to prove his innocence. It wasn't the other way around. How long has this thing been broken? So Trump put out this tweet that said, when he saw Jewell, the testimony of Jewell in front of Congress back about 20 years ago, he goes, wow. And I tweeted back to Trump and I said, what do you mean, wow? You haven't figured out this yet? This has been going on for a long time, and it's your DOJ and FBI now, Trump. You're partly responsible for this because you refuse to act. You still letting Ray run the FBI. Damn. Yeah, I am cussing a lot. I'm just perturbed. I really am. I've never seen such disgusting behavior, and I've never heard so many excuses in my life. Okay. So I said, it's funny. Trump says, wow. And then I tweeted to him and I said, wow, what's the matter with you? Your DOJ pursues Flynn, Stone, the Bundys, Assange, and other Americans who say no to the deep state, the IC, and the attacks on their liberties. What do you mean, wow, Trump? Again, you're so egocentric, it makes me sick. Okay, and then finally, I'll bring up that Lionel did say the Constitution is shredded and the country's headed straight to hell. He had that video up yesterday. Again, Lionel Nation, the Constitution's shredded and the country's headed straight to hell. And if you stand up against the deep state and the IC, if you start taking real action, you will be, and I'm not saying it has to necessarily be aggression. Look what they did to Owen Schroyer. Trump refuses, as Lionel said, Trump refuses to arrest Hillary for even a simple crime. They don't need to wait until they get the whole conspiracy wrapped up. That's a fallacy. They could arrest a few of the key players. This is what they do in major criminal investigations, mafia and things. They'll arrest them on some more, I should say, less serious crime to hold them, to make to start the process. Trump and Barr won't even do that. So these people are bolder and are more bold, getting bolder by the day, and are bellicose. And we sit back saying, "Oh, we can't go that far. That's gonna hurt everything. It's gonna destroy everything." Yeah, well, that's gonna happen anyway. You timid bastards. Yeah, I'm really tired of this. Virginians, the laws haven't been put into place yet, but they see what's coming. The people in Washington, I'm up here. I've talked to several, not large groups of people, but a few people, and they're not very happy with the way things are going here on the attacks on the First and Second Amendments and Fourth. My usual thing. Trump has failed to aggressively defend the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments, and that has creeped now throughout the entire country because they see, oh, Trump's weak on that, so we can go after it. We thought he'd come after us for violating these parts of the Bill of Rights, these amendments. But gee, he didn't. He actually is for it. He's for surveillance about guns. He is taking away assault rifles and, doing the medical stuff. I don't care if he's backed away from it, okay? People say, well, he backed away from that. He should never have said it in the first place. He has no moral backbone, no moral foundation. Yeah, he is a businessman, and the bad side of being a businessman is, what does he call it? The art of the deal. You do whatever it takes to get the deal done, even if it means selling out your partners. And I've seen that in the business world. Surreptitiously, underhandedly, selling out your partners in a business so that you can grab more of the pie. Oh, it happens all the time, ladies and gentlemen, all the time. And if that's what he's doing, he lied to us. And I'm sorry I have to come down on him. Who else are you going to hold? Truman said the buck stops here. It wasn't true. He could have stopped some other things that he didn't, but the principle is right. Well, not only does the buck not stop to Trump at Trump's desk, he's there ripping it up figuratively and giving out to a lot of other people saying, yeah, go ahead, yeah, do that, yeah, I said red flag laws, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I said let's use the surveillance system to find out what people are thinking and take away their property before they can do anything. Remember, Trump did that. So I don't give a damn what they say Barr and Durham are going to do. I only care about what they do. I don't care about what Trump is going to do or what he has done. We are past time to take this thing and get aggressive. And if he's not going to give us cover to do that, and apparently he doesn't have the guts, then we're in a lot of trouble because we will, in fact, be on our own. And they will take us out piecemeal. And it'll be Trump's fault. Yes, it will be. Look what they're doing to his own people. Look what they're doing. He wants to go now to a full trial in the Senate. Well, now he's backing off that, right? Now he's saying, well, no, I think it'd be better to have a short trial. For those of you who think he has a plan, he hasn't got a clue. Not a clue. Okay, I'm going to go to chat here. We've been going for about 50 minutes. And I'm sorry I'm in that frame of mind today. But to pretend otherwise, I would be lying to you. With all that's happened. Trump wouldn't have been elected without Assange or Stone. Look what he's allowed to happen to them. If they had really done some criminal behavior, that'd be one thing, but he knows better. And as Alex Jones said one time here not too long ago, if Trump was willing to do this to Assange and to Stone, his DOJ did that, okay? The buck stops here. It's his DOJ. Either they're not following his policies or he has no policy. As Alex Jones said, if Trump is willing to do this to Assange and Stone, and this is Alex talking, is Trump going to throw me under the bus? Yes, Trump will throw anybody under the bus. Loyalty for him goes one way, and it's real obvious. I'm willing to give him the chance to change. I'm willing to give him the chance to show me that I'm wrong. But so far, it's just not the case. He hasn't shown that he's serious about these things. He's not shoring up his strengths. They're hacking away at him every day, which is really hacking away at us. They cut off a toe, then they cut off a foot, then they cut off the lower leg, then they cut you off at the thigh, and they work on the other leg, and he does nothing. He's got the DOD against him now. I mean, think about this, and I've called this out. The DOD is turning on Trump. Okay? If there's one thing a soldier hates, it's an indecisive leader, an indecisive commander. That is verboten. As a matter of fact, in officer training, you're taught that if you make a decision and it's a mistake, that you don't admit it. Not to your subordinates. You might have to tweak what you've done to make it work, but you don't admit that you made a mistake. In other words, the commander has to look like he knows what the hell he's doing. The DOD knows that Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He makes an order, countermands it. Makes a statement, countermands it. Takes a step forward, takes 2 steps back. Takes 2 steps forward, takes a step back. He's indecisive. He's timid. He's full of bravado. And he does nothing. I'm just going to run down through the list here. And I'm sorry this turned to a Trump bashing session this morning. But what can you say? When you have a favorite team, let's just turn it to sports. use this damn sports bread and circus crap to our advantage. When you have a favorite team and you notice that they keep losing because of stupidity, either bad hikes, bad passes, bad running, bad plays, whatever, don't you get upset? If you're going to get upset at a team that you love and that you have all of their pennants and their flags and all their colors and everything in your house, in your den, if you're going to get upset at them, then finally at some point in time say, you know what, I'm going to change teams. If you're going to do that in NFL, etc., why would you not be looking at Trump and wondering the same thing? At first, you might blame it on the referee because, that's an easy thing to do. You don't want to believe your team is screwing up. So you blame it on bad calls by the referee. But at least and I know the games are rigged, okay? But you get angry at the referee for calling it out, who's supposed to be the neutral in there, calling it the way he sees it. And so here I am, I'm calling it the way I see it, and I don't like it. But we're past the time for excuses. The team is failing. They're screwed up. Their plays are all fouled up. They're not unified. It's sort of like, the football player. He's running around out there and he gets turned around and he's mistaken about what's his goal, and he runs into the opposing team's goal. And you're supposed to accept this. We're supposed to accept this. Well, I'm not accepting it. What am I going to do about it? I really don't know. Because unless we have competent authority to bank on anything that you do on your own, and even if with competent authority, look what they're trying to do, the sheriffs in Virginia. They're saying if they don't enforce this unconstitutional Second Amendment infringement, they don't enforce it, they're going to send the National Guard against them or the state police or whatever. These people that are in power are out of control. They're doing exactly what they said they'd do. They're not about supporting the Constitution. They're not about supporting the Bill of Rights. They're about power. That's all they care about. And they're going to do to us what Stalin did to the Ukrainians. That's what's going to happen. And if you don't see it coming, you're crazy. And Trump, again, I'm not sure whether he's put in there just to keep us from acting or if he's serious, but I don't see him being serious. So what's the other alternative? He's required to show us that he's up to the task that he's been hired for. When you hire an employee, You expect them to perform. Oh, you have a training period. You have a time where they have to understand the parameters of the job and get into it. Trump passed that point 2.5 years ago. It's almost like I saw a person say, well, because of what he's done on this Israel Jewish, and again, I'm not anti-Jewish, okay? If anybody that's seen me on my channel knows I'm intimately involved with Israelite tradition and ritual, etc. So don't accuse me of being an anti-Semite. I'm more Semitic than most of the people that accuse me of not being. But the fact of the matter is that these people, when they saw Trump did that, say, that's almost treason. It's not, because they're not an enemy. But they were equating it with that. Well, I will certainly say that it's putting somebody else before America, somebody else first before America. Why? Okay, FBI is fooling bloody living. What? Yes, I'm not sure. I think I get the gist of what you're saying, but I'm not sure. Okay, where's your MAGA hat, Roy? Put it on. I almost bought one. Actually, I don't even know where to find one. Yeah, I know, Janet, we the people. I know Trump was pushing vaccines. He first came in saying, he's like an anti-vaxxer, saying the parents should make the decision. And then he did change. I know. What did I just say? 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. He gives up without a real fight. If he really had those inclinations in the first place. Oh, I'm going to support your Second Amendment. He's still saying that at rallies. We're going to protect your Second Amendment. Bullshit. You haven't done that at all. Quite the opposite. Why is it that Trump can get away with saying things that aren't true? He said he wouldn't lie to us. We let him off the hook way too easy. Probably because we don't see anything else out there. And that's true. And we say, well, compared to Hillary, he was worlds ahead of Hillary. Well, that was true, but I don't see much happening different than Hillary would have done, just the amount of time it took to do it. And so Trump has to prove to us, we hired him, and he's not proving it to me. And if you think he's proving it to you, maybe you should reconsider your ability to manage something. I'm not saying you claim to manage anything. I'm trying to show you what's going on here. Talk about referees. Talk about sporting teams, how you get upset there. If you're an owner of a company and somebody's not doing their job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can't have an employee of the company who goes out, let's say they're an electrician, and they go out to a house, and they're working there, and some people come over and, start harassing them. Oh, we don't like your work or whatever. Right? And so they stop working, they pack up and they leave. I'm not saying they're even being violent with them. They're just, I don't like your work. You fire that person. You sent them out to do a job. Or at least they should have taken some action to ensure that they could do the job. Okay. Yeah, a lot of you guys are saying a lot of good things, and I can't disagree with most of the comments here. Apparently a lot of you are starting to have real questions yourselves. And we wouldn't be honest with ourselves if we weren't questioning the motives of the president at this point, or his abilities. Now the Democrats claim that he doesn't have the ability to be president. He's committed crimes. But they're doing it from an entirely different point of view than we are. They're doing it because what they're really doing is they're going against us. They want to make sure that we can never rise up again. Remember the movie Ants? Yeah, Spiral Bear. That's right, Spiral Bear. The conservatives couldn't even conserve the women's bathroom. I know. Or the fact that there are biologically uh, two sexes, not hundreds. And all of this is by design. And you all know, I'm not going to preach the choir, you know. Oktok, you say Virginia is done too. Well, the point is that this is showing us where this is going, and they're making no bones about it. Some of these little minor details I'm not going to get into here. You know, arguments over whether Trump is for vaccines or not. Look at his actions. I don't care what he says. Look at what he does. I don't care if he said, you know, I'm going to the moon. I don't care. I don't care if he says, you know, I'm going to take a walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. Did he? Well, that he did, I guess. But you get my drift. I don't care what he says. Yeah, I've long said, Sally Haynes, you're saying Kushner is the problem. Certainly not. He's not helping us any, and neither is Ivanka. Ivanka, she's easy on the eyes, but the rest of it can just go home. You know what I mean? And Kushner obviously has an ulterior motive as to what he's up to. Yeah, I know. Stop using all caps. YouTube new guidelines unless you want Roy taken down. Thanks, Josh. But you know what? Unless Trump gives us a way to take action, this is all done. Do you realize that? I've been calling on him to activate Article 2, Section 2 to its fullest. He doesn't. He keeps bringing neocons and deep staters into his administration and then crying and moaning and groaning, wow, 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 when things don't go his way. It might be that we're only left with good county sheriffs and etc. But you see, in the end, the country's going to balkanize completely. It's going to break down. And that's actually foretold. I don't know if you know this or not. It is. It's foretold that it would be divided up, that it would be just like Yugoslavia, basically. If you don't know what happened to the Balkanization of Yugoslavia, go look at it. And NATO helped that along, as did Clinton. Well, that's where we're going. Yeah, G-Man Neo, do you bring up the FISA? Chief Justice Roberts is in charge and totally compromised. Yeah, I know. That's what I said, and nobody will do anything. Yeah, Boros will call out Soros, but Trump won't, will he? I think he may have mentioned him once or twice. Vince Palermo, you're saying, Roy, would you comment on the Virginia militia video? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. I do know that the militia movement in Virginia is becoming more vocal and gaining momentum because the government, the state legislature, is saying that those types of activities will be considered illegal here very shortly. Well, that's absolutely wrong. And I guess there are counties there who, in the Virginia Constitution, it says that the local jurisdictions can form militias. It's in the Constitution. And so technically the Virginia legislature would have to alter their Constitution if in fact it says that. I haven't read it. But there are people that are saying that, and I have no doubt that's the case. It would almost make sense historically that Virginia would have that provision. So basically the state legislature and the governor are criminals, right? Well, does that surprise anybody? So the county should be organizing their militias. That's what I'm saying about competent authority. Oh yeah, the powers that be may not like it and they might make it declared illegal, but at least you have the coverage of a competent authority, even if they're declared not to be a competent authority by the tyrants at some point. You can see that coming. At least you're not acting as a lone person. Okay, you really can't do that. Anybody who thinks they can, or even in a small anti-government, that's a bad thing. Patriotic militia, you're out of your mind. Okay, you're out of your mind. I saw what they did to those types over in Bosnia. You ain't gonna do that. Okay. Yeah, the John Deere says FBI is very competent, very corrupt. Yeah, and when I say they're incompetent, you heard Comey say, well, I didn't really realize, or that baloney. They are competent in helping the deep state and the intelligence community continue to obtain power and to hold on to it. They are not competent in finding real criminals. They are not. They are not. If they were, they wouldn't be spending all the time that they are helping this coup along or going after ranchers and farmers. They're not protecting anybody but their own nefarious concerns. Thank you, William Wilhite. You say my anger is justified. And I get angry on here often, but thank you for understanding that. I mean, maybe that's one reason why I do this. I can vent. Oh, my poor friends. My poor friends, they hear this. I mean, it's not something that absorbs all my time. I mean, I have other interests, obviously, and I do a lot of other things. But when this subject comes up, yeah, nobody wonders where Roy stands on the issues. Put it that way. Nobody has to wonder about that. Walter Balsley, did Donald Trump think he was the only person targeted by the FBI and deep state? I think he thought that initially. I think he's that egocentric. Yeah, I think he thought that initially. It was always me, 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 me. And then, like I brought up a few days ago, he sent out a tweet where he said, I think I finally realized that this entire coup isn't just against me, it's against the American people. And I went, duh, of course. But now he's back at that egocentric point again. It is bizarre to me. Yeah, I know. Lionel's funny. He said, and I quoted his thing here, his video, the Constitution's shredded and the country's headed straight to hell. I know. And then he'll turn around and say, oh, Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime. Well, Trump had the ability to be the greatest president of it's probably since Washington and Madison and Jefferson. But that's only if he actually does something. And that's not happening at this point. Quite the opposite. He showed his weakness, as I said. He lost the initiative, and they are ripping this country apart. They're coming after patriots. They're going after the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. They're still in these unjust wars. You know, I saw a thing the other day. Oh, Trump's going to bring back 4,000 troops from Afghanistan. Well, then why did he just send 1,400 others over there? Oh, they've got to do their retrograde motion in a controlled and managed manner. Yeah, okay, I'm sure you've done that before. You know all about it. Okay, I'm just speeding down the list here, seeing Sally Haynes. I'm not going to comment much on the Field McConnell thing. There's enough information out there for everybody now. You should know. Field McConnell, I never met him personally, but I was on his show a few times, once or twice. I know several of his agents, who, by the way, the two agents that I knew, you know, Able Danger agents, they basically cut their ties with Field McConnell because of the nonsense he was doing. At least that's what they told me. And from what I've been able to gather since then, they're telling me the truth. They cut the ties with him because of this nonsense that he's up to. He accused me, basically, of the same thing that Timothy Holmseth accused me of. And it's a lie. Okay? It wasn't just this lady, Kim Bocasio, that Timothy Holmseth and Field McConnell have been accusing of these horrible things. Anybody that Tim Holmseth didn't like, McConnell just went along with him on it. And so basically, Field McConnell accused me of the same thing he was accusing Kim Bocasio of, Monograph, Agent 19, and a couple of other people. I've lost all respect for Field McConnell. And a lot of people say, oh, well, they went after him like they went after Stone and went after Assange. No. I know for a fact that McConnell is bad because he accused me falsely. On that one thing I know it. He didn't even call me up and say, Roy, you know, I'm hearing, he had my phone number. Call me up and say, Roy, you know, I heard this thing from Holmseth that you're this and that and something else. Never asked me about it, never asked me anything. Just went along with the accusations. And when I found out he had done that, I texted him, emailed him something. And I said, why are you supporting Timothy Holmseth? This Holmseth said this against me, accused me of these things. And his response was, yeah, Holmseth is right. Basically, that's what he said. No, I have no respect for Field McConnell. He is shown to be a liar and a deceiver. Sorry, just the case. I'll say that much. I'm not going to say much more. He's not a Stone, and he's not an Assange. So as Goodwill as well, Latini, you're saying, wow, Lionel talking out against Trump, that's massive, the Great Awakening in progress. Is Lionel on right now? I know he does a morning show. He might, if he's on there, I'm going to go listen to him later. So hopefully he's saying the right thing. I think Lionel is gentle in one way. He drowns you in verbosity in another, but I think he knows the truth of the matter, and he has been calling Trump out. He's been saying Barr has to act, Trump has to act. He has been saying that, and I I have to back him up on that. Thief of Hearts, will you leave the country, Roy? I hear Malaysia is decent. Well, I'll answer this way. The country has left me, and they actually left me a long time ago. If anybody knows my history, and one of the, I've done a few explanations of my history, and I might do it again. But really, the country left us. Well, let's rephrase that. The country is good. The government is bad. So the government left us. Will I actually head out to some hinterland or something somewhere? I'm not. That's not. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But I would probably do that if and when I find that there is no way that my contribution will ever make a difference again. Maybe it never has made a difference. Sometimes I think, oh, yeah, that's the way it is. Okay, I'm almost at the bottom here, and I've skipped a lot of your comments, but we're coming up on an hour and 20 minutes. I see a lot of people here very upset at Trump. This is amazing because they're saying that he's winning in the polls, that the true polls are showing that he's going to beat the Democrats. Look at the comments here. I'm not saying you guys are, a good cross-section of the country as far as, what you think. But maybe the claim of the people like Hannity, etc., that the polls are skewed that the Democrats use. Do you think maybe that the polls and the information that Trump and his supporters, his machine is giving us, you think maybe that's inaccurate? Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Joe Doer, why aren't I in Virginia? Let me tell you something, okay? You better not be. When you go to the National Training Center, that's at Fort Irwin, California, and that's really the testing ground for commanders, okay? And I don't expect you to understand this, but I'll tell you why I'm not in Virginia or any other place right now for that matter. I'm not going to lend my support to Virginians. Physical support. I'm not going to do that. And this is the reason why. Because this is going to break down nationwide. This is going to become a problem in every city, in every neighborhood, city, county, and state in this nation. And like we send our troops overseas in these unjust wars, they're not here to protect our border, are they? At the NTC, commanders are put into positions where they have to make decisions based upon what's happening on the battlefield. And one of the biggest mistakes a commander will do is get involved in a fight of a lower command. In other words, let's say you're a division commander and you have this brigade over on your right flank that's advancing. And in that brigade there is a battalion that has a company, that has a platoon engaged in a firefight, and they're not doing very well. However, if you take action to send reinforcements to that platoon, you will lose your main objective. You have to let the local commanders fight their own fight. You can't lose sight of your objective. You do not reinforce failure. I'm not saying Virginia's failing. What I'm saying is that I have to let them fight their own fight. And they have to do it under competent authority with their sheriffs, despite what the criminal and traitorous seditionist governor and legislature say. I hope that explains why. Sally Haynes, I'm not going to discuss that anymore. On Field McConnell, I've already told you about him. Maybe you made this statement after I explained it, because I'm going down the list. Sorry. By their fruits you shall know them, and you don't know the fruits like I do, apparently. There's a thing in the Constitution called probable cause, right? And innocent and proven guilty. Well, in my situation, my dealings with Field McConnell, something happened about 2 years ago to Field, and he's not right. Not when he makes false accusations against a fellow officer, former officer, without justification, on somebody's say-so, and a little sniveling, POS that he thought had more that he respected more than me. Sorry. False accusations are something I don't sit well with. I don't care who they're made against. It doesn't even have to be against me. Okay, we're down at the bottom of the list. I want to thank everybody for coming. You know where I stand on all these things. Frankly, to sum it all up, I'm very upset that Judge Sullivan would attack Sidney Powell and claim that she was unethical in her quoting and her using other briefs from other attorneys in her filing. That is not unethical. And the courts rely on other courts' decisions and called precedents all the time. So Sullivan has proven himself to be a hypocrite, or he's compromised, and it's probably both. And as Rich Higgins said, and a couple of other people, the law clerks are the ones who actually write the opinions, and most of them now are leftist Marxists, and Sullivan just wasn't critical of his law clerks, either wasn't critical of his law clerks' writing, composition, or he agrees with him. Either way, or them. Either way, Sullivan has insulted Sidney Powell, and I find that reprehensible, especially when he's using precedent law himself. So that's absolutely absurd. So that's the first thing I want you to take away from today, that the government has lied against Flynn, set him up, and there's nobody coming into his defense, including Barr and Trump. As a matter of fact, it's Barr and Trump's DOJ that's pushing these things, as I said, against Flynn, Assange, Stone, and I'm going to include the ranchers and the farmers like the Bundys. This is out of control, and it's evil. That's the biggest takeaway I want you to take from this broadcast today, this live stream. Also, the fact that Barr and Durham, we keep hearing about what they're going to do and what they say they're going to do. I'm sick and tired of hearing about what they're going to do. I want them to take action, and there is no excuse under heaven for them not having taken some serious action already. If, in fact, and it looks like it's going to happen, this impeachment is going to accuse, in the small print, Trump of committing crimes. If, in fact, the rhinos in the Senate do just the opposite to what they say they're going to do, then, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not saying, Trump probably isn't even worth saving at this point. I mean, what good is he? What good is he? What has he actually done to protect you and your family? Nothing. All talk, no action. Slow-mo HRC. I've had people actually tell me they don't care if he gets impeached now, because it's not that he's guilty of the crimes that they're accusing him of. It's that he hasn't done anything to defend himself, not really, and he certainly has done nothing to defend us. But be that as it may, if it goes to the Senate and they turn on him, all hell's going to break loose. So I hope you're ready. Those are the main things I want you to know about, okay? Not that you didn't already, but I get to talk about it, okay? I get to unload my frustrations, and I I so much appreciate you being here to take part in that with me. You know, that's I want to be informative. I want to bring things to the front that really matter. I don't want to get wound around the minutia necessarily. I like to boil things down. I'm still verbose, and of course that's part of why I like the chat. Okay, because then we have some interaction. One of these days, if I am not taken down, if things continue, maybe I'll have a call-in number. If I can get somebody who can, take the calls and screen them first, because that'd be really nasty to be, answering the phone and then have somebody say something that not, just isn't right. Yeah, if you know what I mean. All right, we're in grave danger, ladies and gentlemen. Grave danger, and I don't know how else to put it. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground, situational awareness on high. Look at what's coming, and it's not the storm that Trump has caused. It's an uncontrollable turbulence melee that's coming. And it's because Trump refused to take the action that was necessary that's going to be the cause of this. God bless you and yours, and I hope that we can weather this disaster. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming. I gotta find the okay, there it is. Until next time, and I'll probably jump up as things continue over the next few days. You'll probably see me do an impromptu or two. Nightcap, I don't really have anything set up right now. The last one was kind of I thought it was kind of fun, but it was, talk about impromptu. I mean, it was a jar of peanut butter gave me the idea. So I don't have anything really set up right now, but maybe something will come to me. And we might have a nightcap Thursday night. We'll see. Okay. Can't guarantee that, but of course the impromptus will be a matter of course as things progress on. Until next time, thanks a lot.